This train and bound for glory. This train and bound.
Okay, let's see. Are we filming? Okay, good. Hey there. My name's David Mays, your host for this edition of Along the Model Railroad Line, program where we talk about the fun you have playing with trains. And I certainly had fun playing with trains. I hope you're having some fun too. One of the things that we may have to do if we want to have fun with our trains is to take care of them. I mean, we got here in this nice house, got a roof over our heads. Don't have the things laying out in the yard, getting all weathered and beat up from the rain. So we got kind of taking care of them, and sometimes that means doing some maintenance, cleaning the wheels, you know, cleaning the tracks, things like that. And other times maybe having to make some repairs. For example, this boxcar right here had to replace the couplers on them. And what I'm going to do with this program, got to tell you about why I had to replace the couplers and what I did to do that. And of course, may hopefully share some techniques and little tips about how to, like I said, take care of a rolling stock, take care of the equipment. So with that, I invite you to climb aboard. We'll take another trip along the Model Railroad line. And like I said, kind of figure out why I'm having issues with couplers in this boxcar and what to do about it. All right, let me show you what we're going to be working on here. This is a model of a 36-foot long wooden boxcar. It's all wood construction except for some metal and strategic places. So it represents a style boxcar that was in common use, say, late 1890s, 1900s, turn of 19th, 20th century. Typical style of boxcar at that time. The model itself is made from a company called Roundhouse or Mall Die Casting. Say the body itself is plastic. It has a metal underframe with plastic details and stuff. Got plastic truss rods. Got the our queen poster called wood truss rod. The truss rods themselves are made out of thread. The trucks are what they call a fox truck. Is a design kind of pressed steel design that was popular around that time period. I think the design originally came from England. The mall itself is lettered for a railroad called the Saint Clair Northern Railway. There's a model railway, apparently originally developed by a man named Ive Schultz. Okay, who was active in the hobby, in the 70s, 80s, that time period. I know they had at least two articles published in Model Railroad magazine talking about his layout. Apparently, the layout itself set in, I assume, kind of like the Michigan's Upper Peninsula area or Wisconsin, that area, mining activity in that part of the country at that time. And like I said, it's kind of typical lettering for that time period. The car is a little bit of an anachronism for what my own modeling interest, since the time period I'm interested in modeling with my own railroad is, say World War II, mid-40s. But at the same time, I had a chance to get this car, bought it at a train show, I don't know, 10 years ago. And like I said, it had the novelty of being lettered for a model railroad by a man whose layout had been, talked about in a model railroad magazine article. So had that novelty. Now, what I'm going to be doing here during this video, I'm going to be doing some repairs on this car. Like I said, I probably bought this, 10 years ago. Been sitting in a box with some other freight cars for the last few years. And as part of a video I wanted to make, pulled this car along some others out, going to run my little switching lab, and got to looking at it and realized this car's got some damage on it. It kind of looks like it got wet at some point. Because, I mean, the worst case is kind of look at the coupler right there. That coupler's corroded. Got all kinds of crud on it. And the one the other is just as bad, maybe even worse. So they basically don't work anymore. The jaws won't open. And these are Kadee couplers, probably Kadee number 5, and most Kadees are made out of some sort of a zinc alloy, metal casting. And probably 99.9% of the couplers I've worked with from Kadee, they're great. They work fine. But somehow these couplers, like I said, start corroding. So maybe they got, a bad batch of metal when they were making those couplers. Or like I said, it looks like the car got wet because there's also some corrosion on the underframe. The underframe again, some sort of zinc alloy casting. There's actually rust on the axles. The axles are, steel. Now the trucks themselves apparently have been painted with some sort of brown paint, so they're kind of weathered. And some of the corrosion actually look like weathering. So it's like, might just leave it there. But I do want to replace the couplers so I can use this car. I'll go ahead and clean up the axles on the trucks. I mean, they're otherwise rolling fine. And try to just take a close look at the car, see if there's any other issues go and clean it up. Also, the car is missing its brake wheel. It should be right there on the, edge of the roof, but, it disappeared years ago. But I do have some brass brake wheels I can think will work here. Just need to mount them on some little piece of wire and just put it in there. So, so that's what we're going to be doing. Okay, here's going to get started. Take the car apart, figure out what's going on. Let's move that out of the way for right now. What I'm going to do is I'm going to pop the frame out of the body. Fortunately, this car, you can open up the doors. Makes it easy. Get my fingers in there like that. All right. Then here, make a little adjustment on the camera. Okay. What I want to do here should be I just kind of stick my thumb in there or finger, whatever it should be, just push down on it. There you go. Just pops right out. I'll just set the body aside for right now. Looking at the frame here, tell you what, let me make another adjustment on the camera. I just turn down the exposure just a little bit. There you go. There you go. But there's a lot of corrosion on here, just, dust and other stuff. Again, I keep thinking somewhere in this car's history, like I said, at least the underframe got wet. But, looking at it, like I said, I see a lot of crud, but don't see any sign of, what some people call zinc pest or zinc rot. Saying something about that earlier about this condition where when they're mixing up the zinc alloy to make the parts, they got some impurities in there, and then over a period of time, the metal will literally break down and turn into, gravel, for lack of a better description. But like I said, here, this looks like mostly surface stuff. Again, it's not a case where I'm going to have to replace the frame, just needs a good cleaning. So let's get started on that. I'm going to just flip that over. I got this little handy box here. I'm going to take advantage of that. Someplace to keep the screws in. Grab a screwdriver. I'm going to go ahead and take the trucks off. Pretty easy. It's, just a straight edge screwdriver. I'll just set that in there for right now. Keep track of it. Let's see, do that. Okay. As long as I'm here, I'm going to go and take the couplers off. Like I said, going to go ahead, be replacing the couplers. That's the main thing we're doing here. Get that. There. Reach over here. Grab my little screw part picker. Let's do that. There we go. Got a couple little twists, comes right off. And grab tweezers. There you go. Let's lift that box lid off. Just set that there. Like I say, kind of pop the coupler out. There you go. Not sure how well that shows up on the camera, but I mean, if there's a chance I could probably clean this coupler up and reuse it. But for right now, I got some brand new couplers. I'll use those instead, and like I'll go back and clean this up later, or end up in a junk pile or something. Let's go ahead and take the spring out. These are Kadee number 5s, and let's grab here. Spring is kind of stuck in there. There it goes. Popped it out. Okay. Again, it's got the spring itself's not corroded. It's made out of some bronze material, but it's still got stuff all over it. So again, I'll just set that aside and replace it later. It's going to do the same thing in the other coupler. There we go. Twist it around. Okay, grab the part, little screw picker. And there we go. Couple of twists, comes right out. Take the coupler box cover off. And again, coupler is just got all kinds of crud on it. And again, probably could be cleaned up, but short term, I'll just replace it and I'll decide later if I go through all that trouble or not. So it's definitely having issues, knuckle will be open up. So again, just set it aside. Again, so you can pull the spring out. Get the knife. There we go. And there we go. Drop that in there for now. Now, what I gotta do here, got a lot of underbelly detailing right there, the truss rods, what they call the queen posts, stuff like that. I can see that one of those is broken, so I'll go ahead and fix that. Shouldn't be too hard. As far as, again, overall condition of the frame, it's good enough. So what I'm gonna do here, got a couple of brushes here. Just gonna just brush some of that crud off like that. Yeah, I don't see any signs that suggest, like I said, that the frame is getting ready to disintegrate into a million pieces. I'll just kind of brush some of this crud off like that. And I'll show again how it shows up on the camera. But the way they make these kits, use this thread to simulate the truss rods, and you just kind of just sew it through there. There's holes already cast in the frame where you just put the thread through and then string it over to the queen post and go back to the other hole and repeat yourself. And at some point, just glue it down, or in this case, it looked like a little piece of Scotch tape right there. So, yeah, it works. Just kind of brush that off. Okay, that way I actually look like weathering. So, big thing is trying to get the stuff, clean out the coupler boxes. There's definitely a lot of stuff built up in there. Okay, this side seems to be doing good. Let's see, get the other side. There you go, like that. All right, here's get knife. Use that, kind of scrape some of the stuff out. And okay, let's do that. Okay. I mean, this coupler pocket looks like pretty good shape. This one here got a lot more corrosion built into it, and like I said, this corrosion probably may come from something else, may off the coupler, because it just kind of got stuck in there. And again, I keep saying, I just keep getting the impression this somewhere in this little HO car's history, it got wet. Again, the body itself seems to be in good shape, but the frame is, like I said, extra weathering. But main thing is just do some cleaning here so I can put some new couplers in. We'll try this chisel blade. Cleaned up, so I put some new couplers in there, and the car will be fine. Okay. Let's reach down here. Should have a fifth. And I got this brush here, some stiff bristles. Just use that. Help brush some of this stuff out of there. There we go. There you go. And again, I can tell I assume the gentleman, Ive Schultz, I was speaking of earlier, is the gentleman who actually built this kit. And I can see the queen posts have some sort of dirty brown paint painted on them. Same thing on the trucks. So, got some weathering there. But like I said, I can also see what is some genuine rust on the axles. So I'll probably try and clean some of that off. But in the long run, it shouldn't be a problem. Okay. Now what I'm going to do here, let's go and fix this queen post. Again, I'm not sure how well it shows up the camera, but it's right there. Kind of still attached to the thread. So just take the tweezers and twist it up. So it'll sit on its base. There you go. Like that. And now, get some plastic cement. This has to be Tester's brand. And got this little fine paintbrush, something I inherited from my mom, so I don't know where she got it from. But the important thing is it's got this fine tip on it right there. And so it's good for what I'm going to do here. Just take a little bit, open the lid. I mean, the glue itself comes with this, this big brush, which for what I'm wanting to do here actually would be overdoing it. But just kind of take advantage, the fine brush, just dip it in there. Put the lid back on. And reach down here at the base where this queen post broke off and just kind of dab some of the liquid cement right there. It should flow into the crack, the break, like that. And poke down on it. Now, right now, I should be just leave that alone. The glue will set up, and the thing should be just fine. Here's paper towel, just kind of remove any glue that's still in there. Okay, put that aside. Now, let's go ahead and do something about the couplers. Here, let's take a look at the coupler box covers. You can kind of see some dirt and stuff on them. Should be able to just brush that off. There's another brush. Kind of careful. Be careful about it. Doesn't pop out from between my fingers and disappear into the nether regions. Let's just brush that off. There we go. Let's get the other one. And there we go, right there. And the same thing. So I just take the brush here and just do like that. Now this brush has this little extra bit of bristles on the end of the handle, so you can kind of get in there a little otherwise hard to reach spots. Now let's go ahead and get some other parts. Something I've started doing, I keep extra couplers in this little tray here. Got, Kadee number 5s, the springs, got the washers right there. Little bag here's got some other parts in it. Got some extra springs. And I actually got a couple of coupler gauges right here. Keep them all in one place. But for right now, grab 2 couplers. There we go. And 2 springs. And there we go. Just put that aside for right now. And let's go and drop one of these springs back into the coupler pocket. There we go. There we go. It goes right there. Now just set that aside a minute. Let's take the coupler itself. Double check, make sure the spring is right there. The spring is good. Okay, now what I'm going to do here, something I've been experimenting with and so far I like, is, I'm going to put some lubricant on the couplers. I mean, Kadee, provides stuff like, the dry lubricant like this. You can also get this at hardware stores, places like that. But something I've been experimenting using these so-called, this particular brand is Neo Lube. Basically, it's a it's a dry lubricant, but it's in a liquid state right now. So basically, it's graphite in some sort of alcohol mixture. I've been experimenting with this, and so far lacking results. It's actually made it a little easier to use than trying to use the actual powdered graphite, like this. But basically what I'm going to do is grab the coupler. I got this little wooden dowel that I've whittled a little kind of a chisel point on. I'm just going to dip this in here like that and just kind of spread there on the coupler surface. And then give it a minute to dry. And then the coupler will be basically ready to install. Main thing, be careful with this stuff. If you get this stuff on your clothes, on the work surface, whatever, it ain't coming back up. It is definitely prone to staining, so be careful about that. But do that, and I'll put a little bit there in the coupler face. You can put a little bit in the coupler jaw itself. Just let that soak in there. Okay, I'll just give that a minute to set up. Put that there, so don't again. Let's try. I got this paper towel. I'm gonna set this on for right now, kind of off camera. Okay, let's go ahead and do the same thing with the other coupler. I've been experimenting with that, tried it a few times so far. I don't know, seems to be working. And like I say, it's a little easier to apply. Like probably basically is this liquid, liquid graphite is definitely expensive. I mean, doing a little research, a couple of places where you can buy it, hobby supply places, they're talking about $30 for a bottle. But the good news, a little bit will go a long way. So there you go. Again, just give that a chance to dry, be ready to use. See, like I said, you can put a little bit inside the jaw. Don't need a lot. Okay, let's just set that aside. The other one should be dry by now. The other thing, be careful, of course, this stuff like that, I think is alcohol, and the stuff evaporates pretty quick. I'm going to do the same thing to the coupler box covers. I can already tell it's already had some graphite, powdered graphite applied to it. I'm just going to go and dab some of the stuff on there, give it a little extra. And there we go. I just smear it on there. There we go. Push that aside, give it a chance to dry. Do the same thing with the other coupler box cover. And okay, make sure it's mostly around the screw hole. There you go. And put that there. Do the same thing with the coupler spring. Get the stuff in there. Don't need a lot. There we go. Okay. Let's seal that up for a minute. Okay. Let's grab that coupler. Like I said, it's already set up. You got this nice layer of graphite on there. Just do that. Wipe it off. Put that aside. Put that aside. Let's go ahead and drop the coupler onto the spring. I mean, at this point, it's pretty much how you do most Kadee Kadee number 5 couplers. Got that on there. And just drop the box on there. Got to turn it around. And get the screw. There we go. Grab the little part picker. Grab that. There we go. And just put the screw back in there. And check something. I got the coupler box cover backwards here. It's easy to do. Just flip it back around. Okay. I don't know. I think I had it right the first time here. And just kind of show you the hole on here. It's not directly in the center, of the cover. It's actually off to one side. And looking at here, it's almost like there's no right way to put this in. It's going to be off center either way I go. So I'm going to do it that way. So the long side of the cover is towards pointing towards the center of the car. Okay, here, let's put the screw back in. Okay, grab the screwdriver, and kind of make sure the cover is straight. Tighten it back down. There we go. Make sure that can swivel. Looks good. Couple cover doesn't have to be on there super tight, just enough. There you go, that should work. Okay, let's get the other end, same thing. Just drop the spring in there, like the coupler itself, drop it in there. Take the cover, drop that in place. Make sure everything's lining up. There we go. Get the screw out of here. Get the little part picker out. Grab that. There you go. Just stick that there into the hole. Now use a screwdriver. Take it in the rest of the way. There we go. There we go. Just snug it down a little bit. That. Let's see. There we go. Take that back out. Something's not quite working, so just take that back out. It's not snugging the box cover down enough. And put that back in there. So it's starting like I may have grabbed the wrong screw. That's meant for one of the trucks. There we go. Okay. And this one does look just a bit shorter. Now, get the screwdriver and screw it in the rest of the way. All right. Yeah, that's working now. Let's see. Got the screw on the may a little too tight. The coupler won't swivel. Okay. Look like doing good now. There we go. All right. Now, okay, let's gotta move some things out of the way. I don't need that now. Just move it back there. Put these tools over here. Now clean things up here a little bit. I gotta set that aside for right now. Let's take a look at these how these trucks are doing. Yeah, don't lose that little screw. Drop that back in the box. Actually, the truck themselves, again, overall condition is good. They roll pretty nicely. But again, like saying, the axles are rusty, which is kind of unusual. Again, I can see some brown paint on here, which is for weathering. Even the inside of the wheels are painted. Some people don't even do that. Well, like I say, the axles themselves are rusty. Now, again, there's not like it's rusting through and things about to disintegrate or anything like that, but should be able to fix that. So what I'm going to try here, I got the little brush here. Just going to just pop that wheel set out of there. It seems to be in good shape here. I reach over here, grab my little coupler gauge or NMRA gauge. Just double check, make sure these wheels are engaged. Yep, that looks good. Do the same thing here. Yep. Do this one. Yep. Seem to be doing. The wheels are engaged. Okay. Like I said, it just got rust on them. Not enough to keep them from rolling, so that's good. But we're going to try here. I'm not going to try and, scrub this thing down to where it's shiny metal again, but just kind of rub some of the worst of that off. Oop. Here. Let's kind of just take that brush, just kind of move it around in there. Nothing fancy. And okay, looks good. Just pop that back into the frame. And I can see a little bit of rust, on the ends of the axle, but that's not actually causing any problem. Yeah, just quick brush. Yeah. And brush that on there. Here, use this. Again, get this brush. Apparently, I picked this up at a hardware store several years ago. They had kind of this big box of them. And it's like, oh, that'd be good for cleaning stuff. Say I'm stripping paint or whatever. But we got This big brush here on this end. They got these little bristles here on the other end. Apparently, they're supposed to be used for cleaning guns. So, in this case, I'm using to clean model trains. Brush that off. I mean, I probably could go back, put a little paint over these axles, but I think in the long run they'll be fine. Just kind of brushing the worst of the rust off. Put that back on. Yeah, there. Rolls pretty good. Do the other set of wheels. Same thing. The other end. There you go. This actually looks like it's actually in pretty good shape. What looks like rust is actually paint. So again, just a little light brushing on it. Yeah, nothing fancy. Here, put it back on the frame. Spins real nice. Get the other one. Let's do that. And a little more rust on here than the other, but I can live with it. Let's see. And here, one more. There you go. Okay, good enough. Pop that back in there. Again, spins real nice. Okay, so what I'm going to do is go and put the trucks back on the frame. Pop that there. Let's get the screw. Let's get that out of the way. Get one of the screws out of here. Put that there. Grab a little part picker. Yeah, this is a very handy thing to use, especially when we're dealing with little things like screws. Kind of hold on to them. Get the screw down into the hole. It will give a little twist. Get it started. And come back with a screwdriver. Actually, drive it the rest of the way here. There you go. Okay, kind of back up there just a bit because the truck can swivel. Do the same thing the other truck. Again, I mean, the screws got rust on them, but not enough to think to really cause a problem. So here, let's grab that. There we go. Grab the truck frame, just drop that in there. There we go. Get everything lined up. Take a screwdriver and screw it in. Okay. Make sure the threads aren't going crosswise. Turn the screw in reverse so you can feel it kind of getting a clicking noise. You can feel it click. Means the threads are kind of bounce off each other. Okay, that should work. Now, put those tools aside. But as like I said, I might go back clean up those couplers, but at the same time, it's not, if I throw them away or do something that's not a loss. Let's grab this. Got this little piece of snap track finished from Bachmann. So it's on base. Set that there and use that to check the couplers. Here. When you make this car body, you can check the couplers, all that before you mount the body back on. Look at that, it rolls real nice. Okay. Let's dig out the coupler gauge. There we go. Pardon me. I'm not sure how I can see that, but on the camera. But the couplers actually line up real nice. The pins are at the right place. Don't need to do anything special there. Just gonna take that off. Check the other end. And there you go. Looks good. Couplers are engaged. Again, the trip pin is good. Okay. Set this aside. put the coupler gauge back in here. Put that aside. I'm going to go and mount the body back on. This end is the brake wheel end, the B end. Look at underneath, there's the brake rigging. Not much brake rigging, honestly. It's just, only detailing for the brakes is you got the brake cylinder and the brake air tank right there. That's based on what's a so-called K-type brakes. No other rigging, which I'm okay with. But the piston, for the brakes there points that way, so you want where the brake wheel go be on the same end. So, and again, nice things about these kits, these small die casting kits, especially these older, old-timey cars. Pretty much just drop the frame in there, just kind of carefully push it in. Not even snap, just goes in there, it's held in place with friction. I mean, if I start doing this on here a lot, probably the whole frame will probably fall out. But if I have to, you can go back and glue them in. Close that door. But most of the time they're okay. Okay, I gotta stop a second, find some stuff I need. I'm gonna go and replace that brake wheel. It's supposed to be right there. So, all righty, move along. Gonna do a little more repair for work on this boxcar, and I'll say we're done. Like saying earlier, one of the things that I want to repair, the brake wheel is missing on this car. Probably, looking at it, there's a little bit kind of a scar right there. So it tells me it had been applied at one point, but got knocked loose somewhere along the way. I got another small die casting Roundhouse boxcar here, basically the same type car, and it does have its brake wheel. Just a little plastic casting just stuck in a hole there, glued on there. That's probably what the original one looked like, but I don't have any more like those laying around. I'll just set that aside for right now. And like I said, it is a little bit of a scar there, so I'm basically got to drill a new hole for it. But digging through my parts box, I found, and not sure how well that'll show up on the camera, but it's actually a part out of it from an AccuRail kit. AccuRail, of course, another company makes all these, various kits for various types of freight cars, and they do make some older style boxcar kits, older, prototypes. No newer than this one, but still kind of 1910s, 1920 era. When a lot of those cars also had these style brake wheels, which kind of sticking out, like that out from the roof, as opposed to the more modern designs where they have it, on the end. So what I'm going to do, I got some brass wire right here again. Not sure how well it shows up the camera, but I'm holding it. I'm going to use this brake wheel to replace the missing one from this boxcar. Again, if you want to be strict about it, it's probably not strictly the prototype design this car probably originally used, but for my purposes, it's good enough. So what I got to do here, let's kind of flip this over again. May not be able to see it in the camera, but on the brake wheel there's actually a little tiny hole a piece of brass wire would be inserted into, which of course, like I say, what I got here. And got my magnifier on. So what I'm going to do here, got some super glue. It's a gel type super glue. And grab the brake wheel, or the brass wire, which will be the brake wheel shaft. Squeeze a little bit of the glue out of the tubing. There you go. Just stick the end of the wire into that. Get a little more. Set that aside and just come down here, get up close where you can see that little hole and just stick that in there. There you go. Yeah, try to come out. There you go. Give a little twist. And there you go. Now, I'm going to have to do now is maybe hold on to that for a minute. We'll give it a chance to set up. But what I can do is I'll go ahead and got these cutters here. Just going to cut the wire. Length I want, approximately 2 feet. Like that. Yeah, it's starting to stick. I got the scale ruler here, so you can kind of put that next to it, just get an idea. Okay, close enough. Don't have to be exact. Just get in here. It's okay, cut out a little extra. Let's just do that. Okay, I'll just take that brass wire, set it aside. Kind of fix, make sure the thing's upright. Give it a second to set up. Look like it's doing good. Now, like I said, the brake wheel is still attached to the sprue. So what I'm going to do here, got these little sprue cutters, got a little cutting edge on it, kind of cut it off flush. Just get in here and just pop that out. There you go, so loose. So that we can just kind of set aside. Grab the tweezers. Again, yeah, not sure how well that's showing up the camera, but trust me, it's there. Here, I'm going to reach over and make a little adjustment on the computer. There we go. So what I want to do now, just give that glue a chance to set up. Eventually it goes there. I probably want to trim it. So what I need to do is drill a new hole right there where the original brake wheel went. I'll just set that over there. Just put the cap back on the super glue. We'll be needing that later. Set some of these tools aside. Got a little pin vise with a number 71 size drill bit in it. Get down in here, get up close. Doesn't have to be pretty, but I can see here, like there's actually kind of a scar where the original brake wheel broke off. But what I do here, just kind of get in here and just start carefully twisting it in there. Want to kind of line up with this, see a little line right there. This represents the brake shaft. Let me grab something over here. Having some trouble getting the drill bit to start. So what I'm going to do is I got this little tool here, some sort of compass type thing. You do like that with it. Again, it's left over from high school drafting class. But the nice thing about it is it's got these two pins here. Spread it out like that. Get in there and use that to help poke a hole in the material you want to drill a hole in. And do that. There we go. Let's do that. Okay. Kind of just get in there, like I said, drill it out just a little bit. Don't need much to drill. If anything's trying to drill in it, knock away some of the little bit of plastic right there from, like I said, basically a scar from the original brake wheel. Just take that, fold that up, set that aside. So what I want to do, grab the tweezers. There you go. Now, like I said, I'm going to be putting this thing right about there. I'm going to trim this. It's a little taller than I like to be. Doing a little research about how long these brake shafts were on these old-time boxcars, and since the way originally, then you had some guy, the brakeman, standing up there trying to twist it like that. It had to be up maybe almost waist height. So 2 or 3 feet should work. So again, just kind of check the ruler. There you go. I'm going to kind of go more for the 2 foot because I don't want the thing to be up too high, because again, it's going to be prone to getting knocked around. So just tall enough to kind of give it a look. Again, kind of try to set that there. Got the ruler right there. Let's do that. Okay, that's approximately 2 foot there. There, just kind of, let's see. Let's do that. Kind of hold on to it. My thumbnail right there. Let's take the cutters, get in there, and just snip that off. There you go. That little piece, we'll just set that aside, throw in the junk pile or something. Yeah. Then double check. Make sure it's relatively in line. Okay. So what I'm going to do, can just set that right there. Let's get the super glue again. Grab tweezers, grab that brake wheel, and again, just just a little tiny bit of the super glue to ooze out. There you go. All right, let's put that cap back on for right now. Let's get in here close. Just kind of poke that thing in there. You have to hold on to it for a second so the glue has a chance to set up. There you go. Do it like that. So you go. Have to hold on to it for a second, give the glue a chance to set up. There you go. Just flip that back up. Let's see. Okay. Okay. Move away, step back. Don't touch anything. Give that glue a chance to set up. Okay. Yeah, it's not pretty, but it'll work. What I'm going to do here, getting careful about, take a little more of the super glue. Yeah, this is some thick super glue. Take a little bit out there, put on the tip of this knife blade, cut that out of it, and reach down here and just put a little more dab up here, kind of building it up. There you go. Let's do that. Okay. Like I said, not pretty, but it'll work. Here's, grab a paper towel, wipe off the edge of the knife blade, put that down, put the cap back on here, put that there. I mean, it looked good as it is, but I want to do something where I kind of paint that shaft blue. It's, it's that brass color right now. Let's see. There we go. Tell you what, the glue is setting up. What I'm going to do, we got our liquid graphite again. We'll take a closer look here, make sure this glue is setting up. Okay, so we're going to stop a second, give the glue a chance to set up, then we'll come back and finish. All righty. I said, took a little break so to give the glue a chance to set up. Also, what I ended up doing, a little trick I've read about and had good luck with, went into the bathroom and got some foot powder and took a little, again, tip of a knife, dabbed a little bit around where all that glue was to act as a filler and give it a chance, help it to set. So now that seems to be good. Help to make sure that brake wheel stays put. Now, next thing I do, again, we're back, old friend, the Neo Lube, like that. So open that up. Again, be careful with it. Like I said, this stuff will leave stains if you spill any. Get that out of the way. Take a little wooden dowel, the edge cut, shaved onto. Dip that in there. Now what I'm gonna do here, just kind of dab a little bit here on the brake wheel, on the shaft of some of these other places. You'll produce a color. Obviously, it won't match the color already here, but it'll be good enough. And again, just goes on there, dries real fast. Put a little bit on the brake wheel itself. Don't need a lot. And get right there. There you go. Just flows on there naturally. And again, those will help, paint the parts so they'll blend in. Again, they're not a color that matches the rest of the paint on here. They're more black or dark gray as opposed to dark brown. But for my purposes, that's good. Unless somebody's looking at my freight cars with a magnifying glass, try to make sure they're, prototypically accurate. Nobody's going to notice that. So just going to seal that back up. And here, it's going to wipe that off. There you go. Okay. So practical purposes, the repairs are done. So like I said, replace the couplers, kind of clean things up, wipe some of the rust off the axles, made sure the overall the frame is actually in pretty good shape. Like I said, it's got some corrosion on it, but nothing serious. Again, the frame's not going to rot out from underneath the car or anything like that. And like I said, kind of put a new, quote unquote, new brake wheel on there, which, kind of fills in that gap. Look at the car. Is there something missing? It's the brake wheel. Okay. So next thing, let's go take this to layout, put it on the train, and give it sort of its re-inaugural run. righty. Well, I hope you enjoyed that little trip along the Mall Railroad line. Had a chance to show how I replaced the couplers on this boxcar. There, show you, get right there. Later for the Saint Clair Northern Railway. I was saying earlier in the video, probably road created by a man named Ives Schultz, probably back in the 70s. And somehow I ended up one of his box cars and kind of honored to do, to have it, on my line. Make sure it gets some use. Good. But like I said, I had, replaced the couplers, did some other repairs on it, and like I said, now it's rolling quite well, as you probably saw earlier in the video. And sometimes that's what you have to do. I have fun with our trains. Sometimes we got to do a little maintenance work, do some repairs, things like that. But a lot of times it's actually a pretty easy thing to do. Like I said, in this case, just replace the couplers. Other times, maybe just clean the wheels, glue something back on. Actually, pretty simple. And in doing that, of course, we make sure the trains are fun to play with. And of course, the act of doing repairs or what can kind of be fun in itself. Kind of, again, use a little bit of ingenuity to kind of figure out what needs to be done. So, again, I hope you enjoyed that trip. Been getting, again, a lot of good feedback on the program. Enjoyed that. Appreciate that. Definitely got some plans for more shows. And of course, the routine, like, subscribe, and leave some comments below. Have you had to do any repairs to any of your equipment in order to make sure your railroad runs smooth and is fun to play, to play with? And of course, there's a place down there if you feel moved, a little place where you kind of, buy me a coffee, help support the efforts here. My my job and some other things does keep me busy, so I don't get a chance to spend as much time on this as I'd like. But when I can, hey, put out some programs, have a good time. Running the trains, working on the trains, and making videos about the trains. So, okay, a lot of fun here. So, with that, thank you for watching, and of course, stay tuned. We'll climb aboard, take another trip along the Morrow Railroad line. And in the meantime, you all have some fun with your own trains, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye.